doing those shenanigans with Saman on the left.
Yeah. So one where it's kind of hourglass in the middle.
Oh, okay.
So the idea is again to see like what are you guys gonna do with the pushing and whatnot.
Okay.
You know, and part of it is to still make sure that chances are that the at least three of you are generally on the same team. You know what I mean? So at least I want to make sure that okay. So you played 2 games. Both sides 2v2 had a little bit of a okay. This is maybe what we need to do. Got some direction by me. I kind of gave some, but very little. But Salman gave some direction. There were some very good ones like rallying, being able to like do some defense and things of that nature. So um, now the only reason you saw some advantage is because the way you guys were building towers was only advantageous when you were not against me or Salman. So my suggestion in this game is be very careful with trying to build towers in the way that you guys were building, because that's like nothing. So I'm just warning you ahead of time. Building towers like you were building it seemed to work because it was really a 2v2 and it was working in that context. But I'm telling you already, it's not going to work in this game. This game for sure, it's not in the same way it's going to work. So you have to be very careful and particular about like how you want to do that. Okay, if at all, because I think that there are some numbers advantage, but zerging is going to be an issue. So again, you're gonna have to pick and choose as to how exactly, what type of unit combinations, and how are you gonna play it. Because the one thing I want you to keep in mind is this is kind of like if we were playing a 4v4 game, and you guys were picking your. So I want you to pick the civs like a 4v4 game. You understand? So all the lessons that are gonna be learned tonight, next week when we actually do have 4v4, and you're gonna have roles and stuff, then it's gonna fall right in. Okay, so that's going to be the case for you guys. So now you guys can, I guess, switch channels.
Hey, Mutsef, you there?
I'm here, yeah.
You ready for some chaos?
Oh shit!
Oh,
Shit.
we are 800 pops against 400 pops, and we're gonna lose. That's bad if we do.
What the hell? Okay.
All right. I mean, remember they're only 400, so
I'm gonna just produce 100 traps, I guess.
let's we just need to take four African civs, and that's it. All right, let's go the other side.
All right. Brother,
This is gonna be fun.
gonna be fun.
Ugh.
Come on, man. You know, man.
I'm just sitting there, Archer. I'm like, okay, where's the paladins I talked about at the beginning of the game? My archers,
Bad.
holding the line. Paladins. Okay, and then I see hussars running in
Yeah.
the back. I'm like, all right, Sharky, stop that shit. Build some paladins right now.
Yeah. It's like a switch, right? Build one or the other. Yo, but the way the paladins charged the bombard tower was like,
Yo,
what?
I'm like, yo, Sharky, let's go. Charge. And then I saw him charge the tower. I was like, oh fuck. Oh fuck.
Yeah. So what do you want to do? What do you want to play this game?
Probably Spanish. Gives me mobility and the ability to fight with the Palays and combo. And also have siege rams. So I'm leaning towards Spanish, but
Hmm.
You know, they start building those bombard towers. I'm just sitting there watching them go up. I'm like, so the only thing that I hear is my archers, guys. Just, you gonna let this happen? Okay, I guess this is happening.
That was kind of crazy. I was like, what? Kind of stupid.
And then Fassel was trying to take me out with the paladin. And I was just like,
Oh
here's
yeah,
my
yeah,
little
yeah,
nook.
yeah.
Here's my
Yep.
nook. Come to my nook, please. And
Okay,
in
nice,
Shoaib's shittily built area, here's my little nook.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
Yes.
lack of response to the LE archers,
Sad times.
there
They
was
make
no.
them seem like so good, but they actually weren't.
I
I
know.
was
I'm
just
just
like,
like,
all right, we ain't gonna do anything.
where are the
Nothing.
paladins?
Yeah, we ain't gonna
Pallies?
doing nothing. It's like, okay, like you can't see what the freak you're doing. But I kind of gave him chances too, you know. Like I didn't
I
really
did.
start those. I start off that much. I started
No,
like with a
I have. I know. I
few.
saw. I
And I was
started.
like,
He started focusing to them to that when they were like in small numbers.
yeah, yeah. But you know, the thing is, they didn't like initially you could because you had more numbers, but the problem was that they still didn't take them out because they were so hungry for the onagers.
Oh, it was bad.
And
It
you
was
didn't need
bad.
that many. You didn't even need that many cab on the onagers. You know what I mean? Like
I know.
he didn't really, but he sent everything on one onager. I'm like, shit.
And you know what the best part was? It was the archers that killed the onager, not
I
even
know.
the cat.
It's hilarious.
I was just like,
Nobody,
okay,
nobody recognized that either. Nobody recognized
I'm
that
like, you
last
guys
night
gonna
either.
pick up on this? No.
Yeah.
And the best part was Shuaib at one point. It's like, guys, you know, there's these onagers that are chasing me, man. These onagers, somebody get rid of them, please. So I shot him down. He goes, someone get rid of the onagers. I'm like, what onagers? He goes, oh, okay, they're gone. Do you know what took them out?
Yeah.
Oh,
I guess
Sharky
if
in
you're.
Spanish. I might go Italians then. Hmm.
I mean, you can go Italians if you like. It's up to you. I mean,
Kind of debating between Italians and Cubans right now.
okay. Cuban.
I think Italians is a little bit of the smarter pick, though.
What's the smarter pick?
I think the Italians is a little bit of the smarter pick, though.
Yeah, I think you should. You can go Italians. I think that works. You're good with the archers anyway, and then you have bombard towers and stuff. So
Yeah.
Think and yeah, maybe that is pretty good. Be green,
Okay.
just because you come off at an angle, so you can cover that one side, and we both meet mid.
Sounds good.
Probably take over 'em- try to take over 'em as much of the mid as possible, and quickly get to that stone for you.
Yeah.
You getting access to stone is like critical.
Agreed. Not sure I understand the Persian pick
I don't
there.
know. I gotta go to them. Yeah, I guess Munsif's just thinking like food archers or whatever. But I don't know, man. It's like he's self-neutering himself for some reason. So give him another shot at changing that pick.
Yeah. It was funny, they were actually against my Britain's pick.
What?
They were against my Britain's pick the other game.
Who was?
Schwab.
Really? Why? For what? The shit?
I
That was a
don't know.
great pick.
I know. I was like,
Damn.
huh? He wanted me to go Italians, I think, or something like that. I was just like, huh?
Oh God.
Huh?
With the two civs that you already had, nah. Damn. What would you like? So I have to be frontline. I could be frontline in many different ways.
Yeah. Gotta say though, the Britain Trebs didn't do as much splash damage as I thought they'd do.
Nah. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I saw the ball hit the wet spot. I'm like, huh?
Yeah. Rians.
Oh, they want the extra range on a gun.
Yeah.
Showing mines. Man wants some eagles.
Yeah.
Actually, no. You know what? He told me to go mines. He was
Yeah,
wondering
yeah.
about going mines. I was like, huh?
Yeah, but he's still gonna go Eagles, I think, with some he's gonna go a combo. And you can bet he's gonna go like he's gonna go at some point he'll figure that that his Mayan archer sucks, so he's gonna go all in on Eagles. And
Mhm.
just bum rush you because he saw how Eagles took out the
Genoese crossbows for
Yeah.
Loki.
Yeah. Not a big deal. So I have a so the question would be is how do you want me to troll them? I can troll them in many different ways.
You know what would be evil though?
What's that?
Italians and Goths. That would be evil.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
one combo I want to do eventually, but not today. That's a little too trolly, my friend.
yeah, they'll kind of freak out. Uh, I mean, I could do Khmer. I could do Persians. Be a tanky meat shield. Khmer could just give you like Eagles will die. Only thing is that we'd have to take out the onagers. Not a big deal because I don't have to go all Ellie's either. But just depends on what type of front line you want, sir. It's up to you as to, you know. I mean, the Gots thing isn't too bad either. I mean, it's kind of like sort of up to you as to what type of front line would you like, considering that what you're seeing. I mean, technically, you could even get like, what do you call it? The Saracens. Mamluks could be right with you, and nothing will come to touch your shit.
That's
I guess I
true.
don't know. It just really depends.
Hmm.
Like, what would you like to see?
Would Toots be good or no?
In what way?
As in frontline?
With what would you like
Like
that to be?
Pally infantry combo? For
You know,
Toots, maybe? Or...
hmm,
I mean, I have no
will
problems
they,
with Khmer either.
will they soak up enough damage though for you? That's the question.
Hmm.
Besides, they're kind of like Teutons. It's kind of weak. Only thing is that if I go Teutons, I mean, I could technically go eventually the knights plus the pallies, knights and pallies.
Well, no, I was just wondering because the toots have the inherent armor bonus added to them.
Yeah, except we're gonna be getting a ton more, you know.
True, true.
Plus they'll have conquistadors. Mobile.
What about maybe the Byzantines? No, their siege is garbage.
Yeah, they're kind of weak. I think you're gonna need somebody a bit either tanky or either more explosively fast to kind of just help your-
Burmese, maybe.
Well, I guess if you're gonna do that, might as well then go come here.
True. Yeah, I'm fine with Khmer. Oh, let's take a look at Persians.
We could do Persians too, by the way. That I mean, the Persians work too. So I guess let's put it this way: Khmer and Persians. Your pick.
So with the Persians though, you need the castles though, right?
Uh huh.
So yeah, I would lean more towards the Khmer then.
Okay, sounds good. Khmer it is.
It's funny that these guys still don't know how to deal with bombard towers.
Man.
Like after all this time, they still don't know how to deal with bombard tower.
Yeah, make sure you got villagers close by for around the front where you can build them. It'll be kind of important to kind of keep the
Keep them
Andres,
at
I think
bay.
yeah,
Yeah.
a bit.
Well, here we go. Hey man, AI difficulty easiest? We got this.
Ai sane. Kondo. Impero. Ai. Kondo. 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 Presto. Correctus. Kondo. 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 Salve. Kondo. Presto. Kondo. Salve. Condo.
Logan and Dovo never showed up tonight, huh?
Ain. Condo. Condo.
First scouts out.
Impero. Condo. Ain. Sane. Condo. Condo. Condo.
Sane, Commita. Quando?
Salve. Condo. Impero. Ain. Caedo. Correctus. Sane. Correctus.
Sane, Pugno, Sane,
Presto. Ain. Corretto. Ain. Sane. Condo.
Porro, Ein,
Impero. Condo.
Pero, Mita. Pugno. Presto, Sane, Commita. Pero, Sane, Pugno. Ein.
Sending a couple more scouts. Show me the wall. Weird ass wall. Going to go build my market now.
I'm already building it.
Yeah, no, I see that.
Ein. Quando?
Ain. Condo. Presto. Condo.
Pero? Sane. Quando? Impero, Ago, Sane. Ein, Ago. Ein, Ago, Pero.
Salve. Ain. Correctus. Ain. Correctus. Condo. Condo.
Press Ein, Sane, Pero. Ein,
First market's up.
Same.
Munsif's building Arbalest.
Presto. Quando?
Ain. Salve. Sane. Condo.
Trying to gather up some units to start taking out the boars.
Comida.
Sane.
Vai ago.
Salve. Condo.
Sane. Salve. Condo.
Ein. Ein. Correctus. Condo. 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 Condo.
Ein ago.
Impero. Condo.
Gal.
Pugno. Sane.
Yeah,
Comida. Pugno.
got it.
Ein ago.
Good.
Sane. Pero rectus. Condo. Pero ago. Comida.
Sending a couple scouts forward.
Yeah.
Arbalists here. Pikemen gathered up here. Sniping Munsif villagers. Show is building skirms over here. He's got a nice key of them.
Presto. Condo. Condo.
Ein. Condo. Presto. Condo. Presto. Sane. Pugno.
Ein.
Sharky has a TC over here as well.
Okay.
Salve. Sane. Impero. Condo.
Salve. Condo.
Presto. Salve. Condo. Impero. Condo.
Sending 2 scouts forward.
Ein.
Presto. Condo.
Prego. Pero. Condo. Caedo. Ein. Sane.
Condo. Condo, condo. Condo. Presto. Ai. Corretto. Sane. Corretto.
Impero. Pugno. Ago. Sane.
Starting to collect stone.
Impero. Presto. Ai. Sane. Ago. Sane. Impero. Presto.
Ai. Condo.
Sending a couple scouts to this side.
Ein. Porro. Pugno. Ai. Ago. Presto. Sai. Impero. Ein. Presto. Impero. Ein.
Just baiting them, just baiting.
Yeah.
Pugno. Ein. Ago. Sane. Presto. Ago.
I was just trying to see if I could get my skirmishers in range to take out those ARPs, but the rest started coming, so.
Ein. Porro. Ein. Impero. Sane.
Salve. Condo.
Building a bombard tower here.
Impero. Condo, 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 condo. Salve. Condo, condo. Impero.
Ein. Impero.
We need to start working this.
Yeah, I was about to actually.
Impero. Ein. Ago. Presto. Pugno. Impero. Porro. Presto. Commita. Sane. Pugno.
Presto. Condo.
Ein. Ago. Ein. Porro. Impero. Presto. Commita. Ein. Porro.
Impero. Condo.
Presto. Ago.
Have a siege workshop from Fassel up top here.
Impero.
Okay.
It's got something in it. Flags are up. It's a little tower. Gonna see if I can pick off Munsifonager. I'm starting to build some castles and some more siege workshops.
Impero. Quando? Salve, podio. Quando?
Ein.
Ein. Presto. Pugno. Per. Ein. Presto. Ein.
Presto.
I have a lot of helps, so I'm gonna build some barracks to queue up some condotieros.
Salve. Condo.
Per. Porro.
Okay.
Ein. Fabulo. Fabulo.
Ein. Ago. Impero. Presto. Pugno. Presto. Ein. Fabulo. Impero.
Salve. Fabulo.
Presto. Podio. Fabulo. Ein. Sane. Ein. Impero. Ein. Porro. Ein.
Starting to queue up some Genoese from this castle.
Fondo. Presto.
Aero. Alzane.
Salve. Condo. 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 Presto. Ain. Ain. Odio. Impero. Ain. Impero. Condo.
Salve. Condo.
Presto. Salve. Condo. Condo. Impero. Corretto. Condo.
Ein. Condo. Condo.
Presto. Sane.
Rest. Ago. Ein. Sane. Rest. Ein. Ago.
Ain. Salve.
Rest. Ein.
Got a bombard tower in mid.
Sane. Ein. Comita. Aero. Ein.
And Shoaib starting to mass eagles.
Pero. Rest.
Okay.
Ein. Pugno. Sane. Ago. Ein. Rest. Sane.
Coming forward with war wagons and trebs.
Pero. Ago. Sane.
Ain. Ufficio.
Ein. Pugno. Pero. Ein. Sane. Ago. Rest. Comita. Pero. Porro. Ein. Ein. Sane. Ago. Comita. Sane. Sane. Porro. Ein. Pugno. Ago. Porro. Ago. Rest. Comita. Sane. Pero. Ein. Ago. Pero. Pugno. Ein. Rest.
Salve. Ain. Condo. Condo. Condo.
Building 2 bombard towers.
Ein. Pero. Ago. Sane. Comita. Rest. Ein. 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 Ago. Pugno. Pero. Ein. Rest. Pero. Por. Pugno. Comita. Rest. Ein. Ein. Rest. Comita. Sane. Ein. Sane. Pero.
Cooking up some trebs too.
Ein. Pero. Rest. Pugno. Ein. Ein. Comita. Sane. Ein. Sane. Pero. Ein. Rest. Ein. Sane. Pugno. Ein. Pero. Ein. Sane. Sane. Rest. Ein. Ein. Sane. Sane. Ein. Ein. Sane. Rest. Sane. Sane. Pero. Pugno. Ein. Sane. Pugno.
Bringing forward my traps. Traps are targeting the castle. Moving these traps up. Sending the condottiers this way. Didn't notice the production of Genuese stopped, so that's my bad.
Salve. Caedo.
Starting to queue up Rams. I have the crossbows and a couple trips ready to go on the left side again. Shoaib's coming with the plumed archers and trebs.
Odio, odio.
Incoming Eagles. Once those massing onagers right there. trebs are starting to come out. So you have a combination of onagers and paladins right there from Sharky and Munzer. I have 10 trebs, 23 condotieros, and 26 Genoese crossbows, so I'm ready-ish to go.
Fondo.
Ready? Okay, I'm sending the trebs here. Got paladins trying to wrap around. Trebs are moving this way. Attacking the trebs. queuing up more traps. Shirky's got a large key of paladins right here. Got traps coming in again. Large amount of onagers. Trebs are gonna start working on those barracks.
Give me a second, I'm giving him tips. 1 second.
Yeah, true.
disaster with the castle build. So I'm just looking at the game because I didn't resign. Okay, so I'm gonna call some things out. Disaster on the castle build. That's not how you build castle lines. Whoever. By the way, don't quit the game. Don't quit the game. Like, don't exactly quit the game. See if you guys can stick to the map. Are you guys can see the map?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm already out.
You can go
Okay.
back to the map, no? You're in the stat?
You can share your screen in Discord, Chrome.
If you're in the stats, you can just go to return to map.
Yeah.
If you're
you
not,
can-
you can
or you
just
can just-
you can fast forward the replay and just get back to that.
You can just share your screen in Discord. It's probably easier. The bottom left, just click screen. Share your screen.
On Discord, you said?
Yeah, bottom left on Discord.
Bottom left.
You should say screen towards the bottom.
Yeah. Next to
By the
video.
name? By the name or?
Yeah, by the name at the bottom. You see it?
Yeah, it says voice connected. Below that, it should say screen.
Oh, screen.
See, we're getting advanced, man. Advanced retro.
Go
Live share
go
screen.
go live.
Yep.
Okay. Do you see anything?
It says you're live. Let me see how we can look at it.
And then you click watch stream.
Yeah, gotta click on watch.
Okay, I can see it.
Where's
see
the
it too.
live stream option? Oh, I see it.
I'm moving. Can you everybody see I'm moving?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is it? Can everybody see it now?
Yep.
Item.
Okay, cool. So, couple of things. You're seeing how Salman and I build castles. You see this? They're kind of spread. They're kind of like not too consecutive, not like whatever. So that's the thing. Do you see that this area is not congested at all? What's wrong with this picture?
I was trying to save space, man.
Y'all are nigs, bro. Like, look at this shit. What is this? This is the disaster. This is the disaster, by the way. I mean, holy shit, this is problem. So first of all, I just wanted to identify, like, you know, the culprits, like the problems with the spacing, the problems with everything. Like, this is the problem right here. So you need to first figure out, in order to have the right type of army units. And by the way, this is critical to the flow. You know, to have the right flow, to have the siege flow, to have the army flow. We have like something very fluid, very fluid. Okay, so for example, you know, when you're making that push with those trebs and stuff, the army wasn't here. Army was getting collected here, and you know what's going to happen out of the gates? The floodgates would open, and they would just walk right through, because you had committed too many on trebs. Okay, number one. Number two. So not only was this a problem, but I want you to pay attention when you guys were picking civs. Once you saw the Khmer civ, what was your conversation as to what your death ball was going to look like?
We never had a conversation of death ball. No, we went with the logic, right? The logic is there's going to be a front line, a middle line, and a back line. So,
Okay.
you know, and then the agreed notion was that infantry. So I as Slavs would be infantry in front.
Yep.
With potentially some siege, such as I think it was mentioned that I have good rams, so I only queued up maybe 5 or 6. Period. I had nothing more than that, and then onagers, right? So I was tasked with infantry, such as halberdiers, and the onagers. So that was supposed to be me in the front line. And then Sharky and Shoaib would have the mobility covered, right? So Shoaib would be with the Eagle Warriors, right? I mean, he went Mayan, so he wanted to go with a trifecta, which is the Archers, the Eagle Warriors, and potentially some Siege, potentially. And then I think Sharky was going to be all infantry, with potentially, I had mentioned that Sharky could make bombard towers. So there was that. We were discouraged from that because you had mentioned to not think that the bombard towers were a thing. So we did not emphasize on it. And then finally, Munsif was supposed to be the pretty much fill in the gaps, right? So he was going to be predominantly, the siege, right? Um, and so that was supposed to be the clue. I mean, the setup
Okay.
between all of us.
And Shoaib, what were you gonna do?
Yeah, I guess the one quick clarification. I think for Sharky, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sharky. I think the understanding was that we were picking Spanish for primarily his cav, since he had the Pallies and the
Yeah.
Yep.
conquistadors, right? And I was basically telling him that I'm also gonna pick the Mayan, so I can kind of like help you, so that you're not the only one that's kind of sending your cav in to take stuff out. I was telling him that your cav should stay more closer to Faisal and Munsif's units, and then I can try to be taking out stuff with my eagles. And if I need help, I'll let you know, right? And then of course the archers I picked with the mines because I know they're fairly fast moving, and I know they do have some pierced armor and they have decent range. So I figured, the archers with the onagers would be enough to take care of, let's say, the Italian archers, right? The other side. So I think the ballista was something like towards the end I mentioned that, hey, Hamir have two types of Ellie's, right? And I kind of mentioned that, but I don't think it really maybe gave it due diligence to really talk about what counters the ballista elephants, right? Because those are the more complicated ones, of course.
And Munsif, what did you think from your side? Like when you were building?
Um,
Well, I mean, my main task was mostly siege. I started building at the end infantry because I've been calling for infantry. We didn't have enough units, and then I started making barracks in the front. But mainly I was making siege, and I needed to make those wagons from the castle, so I made 2 castles. But I also made, I think, 2 or 3 stables. I don't know why I needed. Sometimes I needed to support myself if I don't find anything to support me. I end up building things by myself. So maybe it
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
mistake in this case. Maybe it was a mistake because I took a place for somebody else. But I mean, it has been cold. I destroyed many buildings for the other ones to build, and also made some skirmishers. That was in the beginning of the game, uh, but maybe I should have destroyed those buildings when everybody needed space. But mostly I was siege.
Yeah, so I guess the what I'm saying is, so the issue is this, right? The issue is that um if Vassal was given to be Slavs, it doesn't really make sense for him to go. Remember, there's no really multi-role necessarily for Vassal if you've got like the best siege in the game. Like in terms of the fact that you have an outrange capability, you know what I mean? Like you have the better Korean onagers. So it doesn't make sense for Vassal to honestly build that. Now, could there be a context for Fassel to build Rams, for example? Perhaps, but I guess nobody really thought about the ballista and the Rams, so that was kind of like a problem because you're only thinking Rams and buildings. The other thing on the flip side, I also want you to think is with the Khmer pick, the ballista elephants fire like another range, just like the Korean onagers have range. Well, the ballista elephant scorpions also have like more range. You know what I mean? Like they're the best kind of like scorpion in the game, which means that unlike regular scorpions, they have like a +1 range, so they do even further out damage, which means that whatever kind of comes to them, generally one tile out further, is getting like machine gun down. Thus was always going to be a problem with Eagle Warriors. It was just always going to be an issue. The other thing was that you guys needed to understand and identify is so Shark. So it's not really bad that Sharky was given the, he was now Bombard Tower in of itself. One of the reasons I discourage that is because for you guys is because if you build that, there's a more reliance on the Bombard Tower rather than the units that are going to make the push successful. The Bombard Tower in of itself will not really make the push successful. Like you should be able to give in 4 players. You should be able to without Bombard Towers, without anything, just come in, take out, and just steadily move. And so what I want you all to notice some tendencies. So space issue, big problem. 2, the not recognizing the ballista had plus range. So basically, what was happening is Faisal's pikes and Faisal's pikes, Shoaib's Eagle Warriors, and Sharky's Paladins were getting like machine gun to death. Okay, when
Which
you
I
thought,
called, which
right,
I
right,
called because I had a lot of pikes initially in the beginning of the game. I had a lot of pikes.
okay,
Yeah, pikes, and they were protecting my my onagers
uh-huh,
and my wagon warrior,
right,
whatever they are.
right.
And they've been dying like pancakes with those archer elephants. And I mentioned that, so I mentioned that's when I started shifting from wagons to onagers. That's the reason why. That's what I called. Oh, maybe instead of having eagles, maybe we should just start making
I
onagers.
mean, yeah, the spacing is definitely an issue because even if you look at, I mean, also we're 4 players, right? So technically, 4 players sharing the same space versus 2 players, obviously, is always a big challenge for us, right? On our side in terms of the buildings and stuff.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if I build like you guys did, it would even 2 players could just congest the whole area because
Yeah,
they
yeah,
don't know
of course,
how to
yeah,
do
of
it.
course, yeah.
So what I'm saying is when you have 4 players, the test that you needed to have was, so again, I don't know if that's what you did, Schwabe, in the last game. This is not how you build castles. Like, you just don't do it. Not like this. Number
I
one,
didn't, I didn't, I didn't. Oh, you mean this game or the one before that?
the game I'm looking at right now,
Yeah, yeah,
the
this one.
on the
Yeah.
screen. What
Uh-huh.
you see on my screen? No, like this is never. You just don't really do this. You just don't. And the thing is, you must, even if you're going to do this, they would be kind of like spaced more apart. Obviously, so that's kind of important. Um, the other thing is the same. Now, if you kind of notice, the siege workshops were kind of spaced, but then there was some this other shit. I guess my point is, I want the houses to be somewhere else. And if you like, once you like, I don't know, was it Shuaib or was it who? Like, once you've kind of set up the front, right? Somebody should delete the houses, like all of them. It would leave the whole area open, right? So, for example, like in this game, you could build a house over here, like here. You could build them here. Like, you don't need any of this anymore. You see what I'm saying? But my point is the houses being here, Shoaib, like, and to everybody else, it killed you guys. Like, basically, you self-neutered yourself by all the houses there, and to your point, Shoaib, that caused even more problem because you guys were like, and then I know this is after the fact, but the problem is that they were like they were obviously resources points,
Yeah, I mean
like
the
resource
problem is, yeah,
points
with
here.
this kind of build, like the way we did. I mean, even if you wanted to rally, it's like where the hell are you gonna rally? Shit,
Yeah. So part of the other problem was in the previous game when you were working with Salman, you had some place to rally. The problem here was not only do you have no place to rally, you have big units trying to rally, which means that if Munsif rallies, you're done. Like, how are you gonna rally? Like, you're all like you see what the, like, you see this shit. This is kind of crazy. It's like, what is this? And that's the problem. And you know what's gonna happen, right? So the army comes in. The natural reaction is to protect because Munsif is gonna be like, hey, protect me, protect me. All this shit is gonna come here, and all we have to do with the ballista is bloop 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 bloop, GG, and the elephants. So now I'm going to tell you like how what you would have been doing using your numbers, what you would have actually done. I would have had like maybe 9 or 10 rams. I would have had eagles. I would have had the pallies. Okay, and I would have had pikes. The pikes would remain with the onagers. You can have a few war wagons if you like, but you have like 7 or 8 like onagers with probably about 7 or 8 of those war wagons if you wanted. And you know what you would do? Basically, move the rams first, use the eagles and the paladins at the same time from different, like from here and from here, with the rams going in first. What have we accomplished? By doing this, we've accomplished a couple of things. we have suppressed the Ellies can't really move forward because the Eagles and the Paladins are pressuring the front line. Okay? The Rams are kind of like, even though I could micro technically, I wouldn't really, but say I'm technically even with the micro, the fact is that the Rams are still a problem because they're taking some of the fire of the ballista elephants. Now, if the onagers which outrange, and now when the onagers come in, they can start pancaking without a problem because the elephants can't even get to them. And say by chance an elephant or two even get there, by that time you have the pikes waiting for them on defensive stance. You see what I mean? Like you have to suppress the line in order for the onager to do its damage. The problem is in this game, the onager never got that chance. The suppression didn't happen because either the eagles went in, or maybe the pallies went in, or maybe the pallies and pikes went in, but the elephants weren't really being suppressed, and the whole time, like, the onagers never made it to their target. And by the time they even could, Munsif couldn't really do it because then he had nobody in front of him. And like he was mentioning, a lot of times the elephants got in and wreaked havoc, and he lost all his shit. So he was like, "Oh my god, rinse and repeat." So, do you understand like how that would have actually worked? Like, tell me if what I said is like, well, I don't understand this, or it doesn't seem like that would work. Remember, it's suppression. You have to suppress the Ellies so that they're stuck fighting. They have to protect the ballista, right? You need a meat shield, so they need to protect ballista. So they're suppressed, so they can't go forward. So, and the ballista elephants are too busy firing off, maybe on the Eagle Warriors, or so. So actually, Shoaib, in your case, I would have not even made any archers at all. I would have gone like hardcore Eagle Warriors to counter the fact that there were that many ballista.
I guess question for the Rams. I guess wouldn't your but like your regular at least be able to just take out the Rams pretty quick?
Yeah, but you're using the Rams and the Eagle Warriors and the Pallies at the same time. So you're forcing me to choose a target, yeah. And the problem isn't the Ram isn't the problem for me. Remember, the Ram isn't for the Ellies, the melee Ellies. The Ram is for the stupid ballista.
Yeah.
So you just need. Here's the thing. Even you will lose all your Eagles, and say you lose all the Pallies, but if Munsif does his damage, he lives. And if Munsif lives, you win.
Clean up
Yeah,
after.
you win. You win. Period. You win. There's nothing else we can do because Salman, being the Italian guy, he can't go against those onagers. That's the key. He can't. He needs me. He can't really do it by himself. So that was really the key to the game for you guys to make sure that that's something that you're able to do. Now, again, I didn't really do it all the time, but I didn't always have like the Ellies. I also had my own version of Cavaliers as a shock force, doing other things, but I didn't really do too much of that. I still wanted to just see from you guys like the right amount. So when you're seeing castles being built, you don't have to super get intimidated and have an overreaction. Let me tell you something. First of all, when I build castle, if I wanted, I wouldn't lose the castle. But I needed to build the castle to lose the castle. You know why? I built more castles so that I could get you to build more trebs. So in essence, I was dictating your army composition. And once I had done enough of it, and I saw that you had enough of the more like, I think at one point, I don't know how many trebs did you guys have at one point? A lot, I think. I mean, quite a lot.
Maybe when I said we'll build 100 trebs, they don't know I was joking.
I thought like everybody was building trebs. Like it was like, what? But I want you to think about this. So if you now imagine the army composition that was required to beat the army we had, right? You built, by making castles, I created an overreaction so that you built more trebs. And once I got you into that position, I flood you with my real army and destroy everything. And by that time, you have nothing to stop me. That's the problem. So in the heat of the moment, when you're thinking, oh, we're going to take this castle out and we're going to take that castle out, these castles weren't even necessarily producing anything. It was the castles always in the back that were producing. But because you never saw enough of anything in the front, you were like, oh, this is our chance. Like, we're gaining the upper hand. The problem wasn't that you were gaining the upper hand. The problem was that your unit composition was just disaster. And it was because you saw the castles. So then there was a group, a team overreact. Now, what I want to know is this. Did anyone communicate to anyone about the number of trebs, or like, I'm building trebs, or just everybody on their own decided to build trebs?
I think on the planning stage, we did decide, okay, since everyone has access to trebs, that everyone's gonna pitch in for trebs.
I didn't build any traps.
Okay, so Fassel didn't build any trebs.
I built only towards the end. Otherwise, I was producing archers.
Okay, but the archers weren't gonna do shit.
I only had one castle.
Oh, okay. So you had only one castle, and yeah. So I guess we didn't really destroy anything. Fassel? Where's Fassel's castle? Fassel lost his castle?
Gray. No, it's in
No,
the
it's
back.
in the back. It's in the back. Right there. You passed it. Right there.
Oh.
That's the one.
Okay. Yeah, so anyway. Okay. So that's fine. The placement of the castle is okay. So yeah, so I think that so Munsif, only you were building that many trebs? It can't be. I thought I saw
I'm pretty sure I
Shuaib.
saw Shuaib build that one big wave of trebs. I feel like that was Shuaib.
Yeah, that was the only time I built them. That one time.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so in this particular game type, Shuaib, actually, you were pretty much going to be relegated to Ego Warriors. Like, you would not build anything else. Your archers are just garbage to whatever's here. They would never even stand a chance. It was like even useless. There's nothing for you to do. So, I want to give you an example to this, Shuaib. You know the last game we played where Salman was Bretons? No, actually, that was a very smart play from Salman to choose Bretons, because actually, Salman was sniping onagers. Okay, so he outranged. He used the range of the Breton archers to outrange and snipe the onagers that could have posed like a threat to you guys. The thing is that actually would have left open the pallies that the Sharky could have made to pressure the elephant archers. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is because I want you to pay attention to this. The elephant archers can tank the Breton archers. Like, it doesn't matter what the Breton archers do, because the elephant archers are not only tanky, but they have more pierce armor. So I could tank him, and I don't care. I don't know if you noticed, I actually put my elephant archers even within the castle fire. Like, I didn't care at all, because I'm like tanking it. Like, I don't have a problem. But the important thing I want you to note is, because I could tank it, you as a Mayan player, you cannot tank whatever the hell you're seeing here. So all you care about is, holy crap, I can't let those elephants get to my buddy Munsif with those onagers. How do I need to pressure? Now, it's not like you didn't make eagles. I'm just saying you didn't make enough, because you kind of spread it out with the others. In this case, your whole job, after you saw Sharky get decimated, you're like, guys, we can't go this in one by one. Like we can't do it. So it was kind of like Sharky's job would not be to stay by the onagers. It would be the infantry guy whose job would be sticking. He would just stick his pikes next to the onagers, for example. And then basically when you move out, right? So whoever's building the rams would put the rams, the eagles, and the pallies charge at the same time with Munsif bringing the flank, like the back line. He would just come forward, and now you set up the full line, right, with the pikes waiting in the back. So even if a strike force comes in, the pikes are still there. You see, like the pikes still they're just waiting. So Faisal would never like lose his units. Munsif, you would have had your peace of mind with your onagers being protected, and the guys that will probably get decimated anyway, which is the Eagle Wars and the Pallies, will die. But what's gonna die is everything else we have, because after that we have nothing that'll stop the Korean player. Actually, not only do we not get the onagers, but we can't even stop Faisal's infantry at that point. And I mean, it's really a GG at that point. So that is the combination that you would have needed to actually just. I mean, at that point, actually, you just have like four trebs, and that's it. You keep moving the 4 trebs, and you just keep moving the army, and that's actually you would just push everything. Like, there's nothing that we can at that point really do to stop it. Maybe we have one more good fight, like over. I would say like over here, like one good fight here. Like after this goes, then there's one good fight here, and then it's GG. Because you out like there's nothing we can do. Like there's nothing we can do to stop whatever's here. Like whatever this. I mean, this is too many onagers, by the way. But say a smaller force of this with like a bunch of pikes, and then like 4, maybe 5 trebs. GG, like you win. So you guys needed to have that mentality of I'm gonna sacrifice my units. However, the only sacrifice worth doing is when me and the enemy dies together. If we both die, my partner wins. If I die and they live, that's bad. Like my partner's gonna be finished because he went all siege. So there's nothing really that would protect him, because at that point, elephants, the ballista are still gonna kill the pikes, and then the elephants are, which by the way was happening. You know, Munsif was calling it out, like, hey man, guys, like this shit's happening to me. Like I'm getting pancake destroyed. Like I need to create. And then he actually started building like the barracks here, like which he shouldn't need to, right? He definitely did not need to. So that's really, and say worst case scenario, if that was still not working, okay, I would have still made some pikes here and then told Faisal to go like make boyars. And then he would need more than one castle for that. Like you could technically do that, although I don't even think it's necessary. It's just not even necessary. Like Faisal's role was just completely okay, you know. And so I'm actually happy that everybody's role was okay. You guys actually picked really good civs, which I'm actually happy about. The Persian civ was going to be a disaster, so I'm glad at least that didn't happen. But these civ choices were very nice. I felt like you guys did pretty okay. However, all I'm saying is, now that I've broken down a few games and Salman broke some games today, do you guys like kind of notice like now we can maybe build on this, right? Together, like we can build on like some of the lessons here. Now you guys need to be able to, like, when we're not on the same teams, now you have to communicate to the white boys instead of like losing their shit and just going in like crazy. Like now you guys know how to create the discipline. Like guys, we're not just gonna go in. Contesting for the sake of contesting is not worth contesting, because if you lose all your units, you're basically finished. So it's going to be really important to make sure that, you know, you guys are able to reel some of that stuff in. And the best part is, like, at least I know Faisal, Shoaib, and Munsif. You guys definitely, if you have the majority of folks that are chiming in, I think it'll be really hard for the white boys to, you know, Logan to go like, oh, we need to do this and that, or I'm going to do this. Nah, it's going to be more specific, more targeted, more deliberate, and that sort of thing. And Sharky, you also kind of figured out too, you know, like, hey, I'm not going to just go in and die. I need to know like what the hell is the plan, so that when I send my stuff, at least we get some dividend out of it. Like that's really critical, because I mean, Sharky sending units to die does nothing. Yeah, he can say claim moral support and say yes. You see, I build units and they died, but that's not good enough. Like he needs to be a he's gonna have to need some direction and as to when to go in or when not to go in. And those are the types of plays that are going to be needed in order to like make the good pushes. Interestingly enough, the game knowledge part not the biggest deal. I mean, I thought that you guys still can do this. So it's really just important. Oh, the overreaction of building. By the way, Munsif, I know you started doing this too with the like that you felt you needed to build barracks. Logan does that crap all the time. He changes his role and then he changes the mute and then he changes the like he was supposed to build like one or two unit type and then he says, oh, I don't see any units here, so I'm going to build my own. Instead of proactively communicating with his team, he ends up trying to do that and then he tries to do too much and then he just loses focus and then he's just done, like he's just gone.
Well, I mean, the only difference here, it's like I do call it, and after a while, I don't see anything happening. Then maybe people are struggling with their economy, I don't know, but I don't see any reaction. Then I start making my own.
Okay,
Uh,
so just can I just say one thing here? So there's something missing in our um, situational awareness, right? So think about it. You task me for frontline infantry. All right. I'm not a shit player, right? So I'm there, and I played several games with you tonight. So you know that I'm there's not going to be a dereliction of duty. So I I I make it. I make the and by the way, you said it too. You made a whole bunch of infantry, and they got machine gunned. I think where the part where things start to get disconnected and disjoint is that what happens to the recollection of your own infantry getting machine gunned and eliminated, right? Which is what caused you to switch, which you accounted for. But remember, my primary duty remains to create now a unit type that will be instantly killed off the map. So consider this when you say, well, I don't see anybody there with the necessary units to make. It doesn't have anything to do with that junction with economy. It has everything to do with the fact that we're being hard countered. And so even when you did create those barracks, nothing that came out of it survived. So the what I would suggest is we must consider how do we intercept this thinking paradigm? If the thinking paradigm is, I want a layered approach, I have my back line, which is siege, and now I must protect this siege with a front line, and I declare that my front line, given my civilization, happens to be some general form of barrack related infantry, right? I think the thing we're missing here is to acknowledge that the picks from the opponents take that into account. Take your thinking process into account and ensure that either your front line or your back line can never survive. And that's the part that I've been intimating in the past.
yeah, but the
We're
problem
not
is
thinking about the counters, and we're
the
not
pro
thinking about the counters to the counters.
the problem is I'm not the one who was supposed to say that my infantry is getting killed by the ballast elephant.
Why
I
not?
wasn't because I wasn't infantry. I'm
So
mostly
it's
siege.
not worth sharing?
No, no, it's worth, of course, it's worth sharing, but it wasn't supposed me to say it because it did happen to others, maybe you, maybe somebody else before me, maybe no one paid attention. So it happened only, and I mentioned that only after I created those units, which I needed them because the ones before them, they already got destroyed. So that's why I've been calling them to for my support. And then I realized that infantry is not a good thing at that point. And that's when I mentioned it, after I did test it myself. So the question is, it was happening before I create my own infantry. That's where I realized that that doesn't work.
Right,
So yes,
but
I
maybe
agree with
that
you. It's not I don't agree with you. Yes, I'm not supposed to kill those infantry. But if you put yourself in my shoes, what should I do? Should I just keep watching what's going on, or should I try something different?
yeah,
By
Okay,
the
so
time you
to
die,
answer your question,
but
to answer your
somebody show up.
question, I think watching is a huge part of the game, right? I highly encourage everybody to watch, right? I think we're not doing enough watching, and I think we're just doing enough pumping and zerging. This is the problem. And when the white boys join up, it's the worst because that's all they're doing is they're like autonomously like lemmings. They you might as well use an automized clicker the way they're clicking. So it's like nobody is using their powers of observation. I actually encourage, yes, do observe what's happening so that you can report, and it doesn't have to be the appointee. Like if somebody is, making siege and we have determined that there's something on the map that is eviscerating siege. What's that one, Salman? I forget. There's one civilization that definitely specializes in eliminating siege, right? They've got the lancers.
The
The
Magyars.
Magyar Hazar.
Right. So if those guys start showing up, somebody has to say, um, yes, we had talked about Munsif being the siege guy, but as we can see, the opponent has made a concerted effort to create enough of an anti siege presence that we cannot count on this equation configuration anymore. And then we have to like think about it and talk about it. One thing we were not doing in this game at all until Purim came in and literally interrupted repeatedly. Stop, think. And then Huram was the one who says, watch what is happening, what's going on, right? So one of the things we have not been doing, and I'm not coming across as holier than thou. If I thought I had answers, I would have immediately contributed. And I would have said, guys, we cannot be doing. But I recognized that we had other problems which have been highlighted. I brought them up a few times, and I said, "Look, there's just no way." I practically deleted everything from. I was creating everything from the back, right? And then it didn't even matter because I recognized I was hard countered on my infantry, so it was like
So
none
in
of
that
this shit is
situation,
working.
okay, I understand. So in that situation, what should supposed to do in this case? Just keep saying my units keep dying and keep calling, hey, my units are dying. Can we do something? And this is the
I think
reason why they
that's
are
you
dying.
start right.
I
You need
did
to
start,
report a
but I didn't get
problem.
any response. I did report it. I didn't get any response.
Right.
What,
So,
what
but
I'm
here's the
supposed
other
to do?
thing: the difference between talking to Salman about it, or the difference between talking to Horo about it, is domain knowledge, right? So now you're talking to other players who are not that great, not in real, honestly, not any better than yourself. So if you're not getting an answer, then maybe the team could agree upon a way to respond to that call out. So right now we don't even have a acknowledged. We do not have a 10-4. We have no way of saying this is not working, right? But that's not even the problem. The problem is we've auto queued so much shit through our military that even if we can't even change our minds, I mean, it takes us a while, right? But these are better players, so they're going to leverage the fact that all our shit's already queued up. By the time, even if we call it out and we say this is not working, what are we going to do about the 30, 40, 50 some odd units of the same type that have now all been auto queued? Who's going to go and unqueue them? This is part of the problem. We go balls to the wall with Zerg queuing, and it's unhealthy. But there's no way to stop this, right? Because on the one hand, if you don't do it, you have certain personalities. Logan's one of those personalities who will be like, well, if you're not keeping your pop count high and your resource count low, you have no army, so that when we have a problem, you've got nothing to show. Sharky's been typically singled out as, one of the players who struggles with that. He's not got much presence when a battle breaks out. Now, while that may be a legitimate complaint in a certain scenario, where Logan, for example, utterly fails, is that he just does a rinse and repeat auto click, and all his opponent needs to do is create an effective counter. He cannot undo the counter, and he starts getting more and more frustrated because he's getting eliminated because he's being hard countered. He has no suggestion for anybody else to help him out, right? Because everybody's agreed upon a set role, right? So I'm just identifying by picking apart where I specifically see, the breakdown and the frustration levels go skyrocketing, which were to the point where people mentally resign. For example, Logan mentally resigns from the game long before people go to actually resign, right? And it shows in the gameplay. So what I'm saying is that rather than just tackling the issue from the perspective of in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the battle, I have a legitimate complaint. I don't think that's a great place to start. I think a better place to start would be when we're outside of the heat of the moment. You know what? If we failed in the heat of the moment, so what? We lost the game. Who cares? Come out of the game, and when we get into the next game, prior to getting into the next game, which is what the point of these retrospectives are, we have to make some changes. One thing we can't be doing, and we agree upon these things, we can't be doing sideshows, as an example.
Ein,
We can't be building
presto.
too many things and congesting everything. Let's be, or maybe Shoaib has been recently saying, let's make sure you drop in the scouting frickin' towers, right? We can agree upon certain things so that we have a better chance of handling ourselves in the game that follows. But I think partly we're not competent enough to make instant maneuverability changes in game as our brain dictates is a good answer. I don't think we're that good. So partly I'm saying is that if you're reporting, if you're calling out that there's a failure, or there's a breakdown occurring, I think one thing we collectively as a team can do is say, acknowledged. A breakdown is occurring. I don't have an answer. If it'll help, I'll say it out loud. I see what you're saying. I see what you're reporting. I don't have a good answer. And if the entire team could say that, then we could either decide that we want to jump into the other channel to Huram and say, hey, we don't have an answer, or we wait till we lose, or we try some random shit, which is what we've been doing. We've been trying some random shit. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to play a perfect game, but I think that some of the things I'm identifying are carryover patterns that are going unattended and unidentified. And what I will say is that being able to make the connection between why teammates are a no-show. It could be legitimate that they have a struggle, although I have been saying let's do call outs so that we know that our teammates are not struggling with the economies, with the resource readout. We did that one time, and we recognized that Sharky was low on his pop. Okay. Then we all imagined that we all caught up. So then nobody did a resource count or call out after that. No problem. The next thing we could have done was like say, hey, what are the effective counters or what's happening, right? Were we getting eliminated? I think there's nothing wrong, Munsif, if you say I created a bunch of pikemen to defend my onagers, and they just got eviscerated. They got absolutely demolished by what Tilman just sent. You don't even have to know what he sent. And then we all should look and say, oh shit, what is a counter to that? But one thing, what I'm trying to tell you is if we do not have a discussion in game versus better players where they have produced a counter and we do not have a counter to their counter, then the one thing that we'll almost always fall into is this logic trap in which we're going to say, I'll look around and man, nobody's around. So I have to do my own thing, which is the absolute worst thing to do, right? So I'm not squarely putting this all on your shoulders, Munsif. I've played several games with you. I've had no issues, right? What I am saying is that, when we are in a nasty situation, I mean, think about it. You said if we
We
have 800 pop,
just to okay, because you keep saying things that it did happen during the game. Anyway, I don't want to take it too much. It's already 3 a.m. But anyways, we did mention what's the problem. We did think about it. We did discuss it during the game.
I certainly did, so I agree.
Yes, we did that. All that happened. We brought two, three different tactics or different strategies, which we tried. They all failed. We all did that. It's true. They are more knowledgeable. They are more experienced. They are very good in the game. We are way, way, way behind. We understand that. But the question is, we are learning here, and we did learn something very good this time. But what you're saying, it did happen. It's not that it didn't happen. And we went through it, and Shoaib did a good suggestion too. He brought his strategy, but overall it did fail. Mine, what I suggested, fell too. When I start pulling to help Sharky with the cavalry, it did fail too at the end. And then we stopped the game. I think uh, Horan jumped in like 4 or 5 times to help, and it didn't. It wasn't successful. So I mean, that's what it is. It's not because we just call the thing and then we just sit there. The reason why I was trying something different, it's because what I'm supposed to do. I was watching before I called anything. I did take like 2 minute break and I saw what's happening to my infantry. And I mentioned many times they are just pancaked. I never saw infantry game pancake with no energy. This is the first time I see it, literally. First time I see at least pancake in infantry. And when I say pancake, I just look at replay, then I see it. All I had a bunch of infantry, maybe like 30 or 40 ones, and they died maybe in less than 10 seconds. That's what it is, and it's fact, which I never experienced. This is the first time I experienced. And also, I have the trouble. I didn't know what to do with those LEs, so I don't know. We all struggled to find a solution, and
You
we
know,
all failed.
remember it was funny before. I think when most of you were picking the sip, remember I said, "Why don't you go?"
Yeah, you see.
But
Yeah,
he chose
Persians.
Persians, man.
no, because I was thinking, hey, they have the best corps in the game, and they have the
Hmm.
ballista as well. So that was funny.
Yeah, but they would
No, no,
rape us with
yeah, of
something
course.
else.
Hey, I know. I'm just saying as the ironic.
I guess Shuib, from your perspective, then, like, I guess from your perspective, like, I mean, Faisal had something to say. Munsif had something definitely positive. Like, obviously, they're adding to it. Sharky's been chiming in. I
Hmm.
guess from the overall, because let's be honest, like, overall, generally, you're strategizing. You're kind of like leading, like, the team in some sense.
Hmm.
How did you feel like the game went? Where do you think you had like some blind spots, and how much of that do you think was like something that you guys could overcome, or like, because it's not like you don't know Rams. It's not like you haven't heard this or seen this before.
Hmm.
It's really about, like, it's different when you haven't used them in different combinations, obviously. So it's different. Like, you've never seen that particular combination, so it makes the game interesting and it's new for everybody. But I guess to the point Munsif was saying, my only one caveat before Shoaib, you just give me your little take on it. Munsif, you remember, even though I wasn't infantry in the games we played, I basically said you're in charge of your own protection. Like, you were Celts, I was like, your pikes cannot die.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a reason why I said that, even though maybe Fassel was going to help, or maybe this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, I said, no, no, no. You just absolutely cannot be caught up. Your pikes can never be caught up. And I think in the last game, when Salman was Bretons, you had your pikes hitting buildings, and that window gave Sharky the opportunity to just come in and wreak havoc
Well,
on the
that
onagers.
that's the thing. I can't control that. What happened? They finished what they were doing and they moved to the things that is next to them. In that case, was a
I
building,
I
and
know
I
you
only
think I
noticed
know
it
you
after
think
you
that.
mentioned that.
I know, but I'm saying you are in charge of your units. The game, I know you're saying automatic, but I'm saying that's not really true, because you can put them on defensive stance, so you can put them by your onagers so that they're not really going, because they're not going to just, if they're too close, maybe they'll go and attack. But I'm saying that they don't need to if you bring them back, right? Like, that's a conscious effort you're making, because you're worried about, like, those cav rushes coming from the Magyars. I mean, their whole purpose, I mean, Sharky's whole purpose in that game was he was going to take out onagers. He had no other purpose. So, and you knew that was coming. It's just that the elephants gave you a sense of, goody feeling. But
Yeah,
those guys,
I'm not a good micro. I mean, I understand. I'm working on that. I'm really not a
sure,
good
sure, sure,
micro
sure, sure.
person.
But
Yeah,
what I'm saying is, I'm giving you an example of when you are even somewhat conscientious,
yeah.
you can make a huge difference. Even though you could, I mean, I could have said that. Remember Faisal said, hey, my onagers are just dying. And I kind of let that slide for a little bit. You didn't say anything. Actually, it would have been nice for you to say, Faisal, the freaking siege workshop's in the front, and you're queuing them, and they know, and there's nothing to protect it, because you were on one side, Fastle's siege workshop was on the other. So what I'm saying is that if you open up a little bit, like the battlefield, and say maybe you're in charge of, which by the way you were going to be in charge of like protecting Fassel Siege because you called it out in the beginning of the game that Fassel you go siege and you'll have the guys that'll protect him. So the problem is that it didn't happen, and because actually Fassel was not able to keep his onagers alive, you guys collectively were getting pushed back, which was, I mean, it was a big deal. But I'm just saying, like, just that extra bit of like, hey, I'm here to protect you, but Fassel, come on, man, you can't build from there because I can't protect you over there. Because I mean, you couldn't. You were like in the front, but you couldn't go on the left. So what I'm saying is like those are the types of like good conversations to have with your teammate when you see that you need the teammate's onager, but his onager is being created up in the front, and one by one they're just dying, and you can't even get to him. So you, who are his protection, are supposed to communicate actively and say, hey, listen, Fassel, first of all, I'm not even there. Please build your siege workshop in the back so that you're building it from so I can actually protect it because Sharky was just coming in waves. So that type of conversation is what I mean. I mean, eventually the things worked out, but that's an example of Munsif me suggesting that you're not only looking at your units, but you're looking at the battlefield and you're thinking, man, I needed my partner onagers to live, but they're not, and I'm getting screwed as a result. So we need to figure out how I can protect my buddies' onagers, something like that. And by the way, that's the type of conversation in this game you would need to have with the guy who was defending you. You see what I'm saying? Like the guy who's defending you would be like, you'd be like, guys, I'm getting screwed. So maybe Fassel would say, hey man, I send my you know what's going on? I'm sending my infantry, and as you can tell, when I send them, those Ellies just wreck them. So you know what, Munsif? I'm gonna just keep my pikes like literally on top of your onagers. And I think you would be okay with that. Like at some point, because you were seeing what was going on, so you were like, you know what, Fassel, stick with me, just stick with me, and then you would let Sharky and Shoaib kind of deal with the rest. But at least you got the protection that you wanted because you're actively talking. And if the other guy doesn't know, because Fassel had clearly admitted that, hey, it's not like we're at these big levels. That active communication would have been very useful. That's all I needed to say. So Shoaib, from a leader's perspective, as you saw the game, can you just kind of break down for me like the blind spots, what do you think really was it? Game knowledge? Was it really micro? Like what was it? Because even you've been harping on the space, you've been harping on like siege needing open spaces. So I mean, this is not like anything new. I just wanted you to know that what Munsip and what Fassel are saying, and even Sharky are saying, was that really true, or was it only true in a certain context? But maybe the way you guys approached it wasn't right. So I guess just from that perspective,
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, I think from the pre-game discussions were pretty good, with the civ pick. And
right?
then also, I think the first phase of the game was pretty solid in terms of like getting our eco up and communicating and getting all that in order.
Right.
Then we got to the initial resources pretty actively as well, right? So because when in the pregame I was telling the guys like, this is not going to be a game where Carmen Salon just come in and run us over. It's going to be
Yeah.
how we can push them and kind of break through. So I was telling basically the general idea basically need to be protecting our siege, as in the treb onagers, to be able to win the game, right?
Right.
So I think the general idea we had down. I think also, remember like in this game we kind of like came initially and we tried to take out I think Samon's TC up front, right? That's when you came in and you said, "Hey, pull back, pull back. That's not good, right?" So I think that kind of obviously at least threw me off a little bit, right? That to have to go back and then kind of redo the push and stuff, right?
Right.
But I think apart from that, I mean, at the Rams, that's something I thought of towards the end when you were kind of, questioning us. So I didn't think about that during the game because usually we use Rams against buildings, but this time we could have used them against units. And then the bully stuff we haven't played against for a little while as well. I know because I've played a lot of Khmer in the past, right?
Yeah, you have actually. Actually,
You
some of
know,
them. Actually, you're probably the most experienced player
yeah,
in the Khmer
so
here.
I was telling them, hey, these units are even during the game. I was saying these units are a combination of Cav and Siege, right? Which is
Hmm.
pretty unique, right? So,
Right.
uh, so it's not like you can just go like traditional Ellie counters with them or something. I mean, I know that a lot of the complaining in the initially of the game, not complaining, but the concern was the archers, the Italians archers, right? But to me, I mean, I felt like, once I had my warriors, because I don't have high pierce armor, then I had the mine archers. I felt like, I was able to at least kind of stand my ground with them to kind of help the team to clear them out as good. But I think the ballista elephants is something I wasn't able to kind of solve, right, for the team.
Right,
And
right.
it was identified, of course, a few times. But that was the major challenge. And then, of course, the spacing, right, with the everyone on the team, basically, right? That was the problem. I mean,
Yeah.
here a lot of it's cleared out already, but if you look at it before in the mid game, it was like,
Yeah, yeah. There's all these. There's all the spaces over here though. Like there's spaces over here. So
I
like
think
this is the forest.
yeah. Then I think I called it kind of late, where I'm like saying, hey, whatever you guys are not using, just delete, right? So that was like a little bit of a late call, right? Because even myself, I had like a town center there,
Mm,
which I was able to delete, for example, and stuff.
correct.
Um, But yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, typically, I think, yeah, I think the rallying and the layering of their army units was, a challenge to get that going. Yeah, I don't think the output was as much of a challenge. It was just getting the layering and the building, structures, right?
Yeah, right. So yeah, I would say, look, I don't think you can work on,
And
obviously, like,
even the bomber tower question came up, right? Like,
uh-huh.
hey, you know, that's not a good idea. And I was like, saying, I didn't like completely dismiss it. I said,
Yeah,
we shouldn't be building bomber towers as a defensive thing because they'll just take them out. I said, in case we get an advantage or if we're contesting resources or something, then maybe we can use them in a limited
right,
manner, but
right.
not like to just have a wall of bomber towers to defend or
True,
something.
true, true. And those are fine. It's just again, there needed to be a case of like how you were going to make that push. I mean, you clearly knew what army you were going to face. I mean, you knew the army you were going to
Yeah,
face.
I think the ballista kind of threw me off also because I guess I didn't envision, or for some reason I didn't think it was going to be that many ballista elephants in the army, right? So
Okay.
that kind of threw me off a little bit as well. I knew you have them, but I didn't. I guess I didn't anticipate them to be that effective, right? So
Hmm.
that was kind of like something I didn't like proactively, I guess necessarily plan for as much as I should have, right?
I see. So because it's one thing to see that many in the battlefield versus just you don't usually see that many, I guess,
And
is
it's
what you're
not about,
saying.
yeah, not about just how many, but the impact that they were having, right?
Ah, okay.
I know, of course, I call it Munsif knows. I said a few times, hey, there's too many, like war wagons here. They're blocking it. Don't build that many next time you build them, right? So I was trying to call some of those things out.
Yeah, ironically, the war wagons helped us so much because they blocked your whole army.
Hmm.
So by blocking your army, so here's what was going on. Because it blocked your army
Well,
and the
here's the
war
funny thing, right? It's not just the units, right? So the other thing, which I don't know, maybe I guess not something people pay as much attention to, but it's not just the type of units. It's like a lot of times there were armies just standing in the way, right?
right.
It's not like they were being rallied there. They just kind of like stopped there and just stood there, right? So that was kind of a bit annoying too, because you have like a shuttle like like halves or other units just kind of blocking, right? And then you're like trying to make a push with the trebs, and the trebs are like significantly delayed because they can't even get through, right? So obviously like that part was like something we have to be careful. Like basically, if your armies are not fighting, you shouldn't just have them clumped up everywhere, right? You should leave
Yeah.
space for the armies to flow or for like the critical units to go in the front line.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, these are all good things that you're talking about, like great observations. Those are all like, and I know those things can be worked on, right? Because that's going to be the critical thing. Because the idea is that once you guys, especially between Munsif, Faisal, and you, like once you're on like where you've established like, okay, in the first third we're going to talk about these things, in the second third we're going to talk about these things, in the last third we'll talk about these things. What I'm saying is that someone like Logan or whatever, like he'll have no choice but to follow through with it, is what I'm saying. But it's when you don't have an answer, I guess. So, Shoaib, can you tell me, because Munsif was saying that you guys actually did talk about the fact that you guys were getting machine gunned down pretty quickly. I guess the after that there wasn't like because I guess was there like, oh, what are we gonna do? Then what was the response to that? Like, did you guys feel like there was anything you could do, or was it just like, oh, we'll end up making the same units?
No, I mean, I think the response was that we needed like more of a front line with the, with not just the house but the pallies, right?
Okay.
And that's where Sharky rightfully was saying like, hey, the Italian archers are like taking me out, right? But
Right. Right.
I was like, okay, I mean, I'll help you with, against those guys, right?
Right.
So, but I think maybe it was your ballistas that are doing a lot of the damage, not necessarily
Yes.
maybe much as the Italian
Nah.
archers, but the perception was it's the Italians because they're anti-cav, right? Uh,
Right.
I think that also was kind of throwing the team off a bit.
Yeah. So.
And the other thing which I'm a culprit of as well. I mean, I'm not good at siege myself either, right? So, like,
Right.
for example, with the siege, I mean, one thing I've learned or haven't applied it as much, but sometimes when I do apply it, I see the big difference. It's like, especially if you're producing, let's say, 8, 10 onagers, like you should have usually at least a minimum of 2 groups of them, right? Not like in the same line either, like from different
Right.
angles.
Right. 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 Yeah, and that's Munsif's called it out. Munsif said, "Hey, man, I can't like just micro
Yeah, the way I was
micromanage."
thinking is like, like even the war wagons and stuff, and like technically, I mean, it's more work, but let's say if you kind of use it to kind of, kind of like just be a meat shield and block some path where you have the onagers behind them, right, trying to get shots, that could be like, some other stuff we could have done, probably maybe too.
Yeah, what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is because there were so many.
I mean, you've done that like, with Ellie's when you block
Yeah,
paths, right,
of
for like,
course,
for units to come and stuff,
of
right?
course. The difference is that so here's a very good point. So part of the problem was that we used choke points, and then when I built castle was because I wanted to get like a high hit point surface area coverage, which further clobbered, like it mucked the whole area further, and then it basically channeled. Like you see, like if you notice, everything is channeled. Like if you come from here, you channeled here, you get channeled here, you get channeled here, you get channeled here. Literally, there's no room here, so you get channeled here. I mean, here is where all the shit's going on, and the reason I even built like castle, so it was just getting more surface area, channeling, and then on top of that, the other interesting thing is by making more of this, I changed the composition of your units to more on it, like more trebs. And then the other thing is the war wagons were the best because what the war wagons were doing actually, they kind of like I don't know. Note once if you notice the war wagons end up being in a circle, like
Like an
they
arc. Yeah.
yes you noticed that.
Yeah. 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 In
So
front.
to
Yeah, I saw that like twice. I think they made it.
yes. So what I would do is I work my Ellies to create the arc, which was a barrier against cavalry to attack the ballista. So that means I knew. Say, I don't know if you guys can see my screen still, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or no?
I
So,
do it.
this arc was being made, like an arc was being made. I would move my ballista, and I knew to focus fire any shit that cavalry or eagle warriors or anything that would come because they could never pass. So they could only come here. They would only come around the circular arc. So they came around the long way, but not only did the Eagle Warriors come, the Pallies were coming from that way too, because they were blocked by the war wagons because of the space. And there were other times when actually you had your own buildings that the war wagons kind of blocked the units, Shoaib, like you were mentioning. So I was not only so even though the war wagons were kind of tanking some of the fire from the ballista, the problem was all the other units were getting
Yeah, like
slaughtered in the back.
they're doing more harm than good.
Yeah.
And, I can kind of like sympathize or I guess empathize with the team because even with my Eagles, I had to find those gaps or go around or something, right? So it's kind
Right.
of annoying.
So yeah, so I think you guys had the right idea. You also had the right point. Here's my a suggestion to you. Next time you see some crap like that, at least from your side, feel free to say delete this building, delete this building, delete this building. We need more surface area. Like at least be able to do that. Because to me, that's like, even though I think like you'll still see this mistake, I think to some people will still make some of this mistakes. It's just that in game, can someone say, "Hey, can you delete this?" The only thing is, I think that what if somebody said, "Hey, Shoaib, delete like 2 castles."
Well, yeah, I wouldn't care. I would do it at all the time.
I know, but it's so devastating
Yeah,
to
so
lose
like
that.
I guess if we go up top a little bit, you see, so the other thing we gotta take advantage of, which I don't do as much as I should, is when we're clearing out the forest,
Yes,
you get technically more space, right?
right.
So move your farms
Yes.
around, you can move your houses around, then you can delete a lot of the stuff up front to kind of like take advantage because that's like a lot of real estate you
Well,
can.
that's exactly what I was saying. That once you've got this kind of going, you delete all these buildings because you see, you've got
Yeah, because
all of
the
this.
wall and stuff is maybe for some initial clean,
Correct.
but afterwards it's different.
Yeah, that would be that. Yeah, see,
Like
like even here.
how is that gonna stop freaking damn Trebs and Ellies to go through?
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. They're not gonna do much,
I
so
mean,
that's why it was useful.
so yeah, so like kind of reallocating the buildings and the go. I mean, I know it's more work, but still like taking a minute out of that is better than spending 20 minutes, complaining about space, right?
I think so, man. Especially because it's easy to delete. By the way, when you guys delete, does it give you a prompt or you can just delete auto?
It's funny this time, for some reason, it gave me a prompt when I was deleting my town center.
It's
You can
only on the major. It's on major stuff like town centers or castles.
Castles.
yeah, you can actually switch it off, I believe. You guys can still see this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Where the hell was it? Oh, by the way, this is the double click if you wanted to stop. Select all. Select
Yeah,
only idle edges or
I think
disable.
I think I did only idle maybe.
Oh, is that what you do? Oh, I know, Sharky, you were asking about because it happened to you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, Sharky, it happened to you. So think about like if it makes sense for you to do that or not. Um, God dang it, man. There was a interface. Safe to delete. So I uncheck this. So it never gives me the
It's
delete.
funny because when I click delete town center, I got the pop up, right?
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
says town
So
centers, castles, monasteries, or wonders.
I thought by mistake I was like click quit the game or some shit. So I clicked no, and then did it again. Then I actually read the message. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So the other thing is, even though you take out buildings up front, remember the buildings here. This is where the real counterattack comes. And by the way, easy place to rally. Very easy place to rally. So what seemed like the trebs and the stuff, the floodgates here from the rally would have just. I think Faisal was what Faisal said was correct. So Munsif and you guys were already heavily queued and fully committed to the army that you already had, and you couldn't make more. And by the way, tell me if I'm wrong. All the units that you did queue, it's not like you unqueue them. The only thing is that you run out of pop, so your thing goes, your thing pops. But here's the funny thing: all of this that you see, all of this, what's going to happen is that when all of this is full, nothing will produce. You will be stuck with what units you had. You would be able to take this out. You would be over here, and then the counter units would just destroy everything, and they wouldn't stop. By the way, you know, they would just keep going straight. And now, by the like, because of the unit types you have, the siege pumps out slow. The castle units, yes, but the stupid you don't need Mayan archers. You actually need the Eagle Warrior stuff. But by that time, it's too late because we've amassed too much. So that's why I needed to stop you guys. And by the way, just so you know, in a lot of the other previous games, that's usually what's been happening. You feel like you got an advantage, and you're pushing, and then the rallying army is like coming and just obliterating everything. Like you just end up losing everything. And unfortunately, like because of that, you guys end up like saying, "Shit, man, I thought we had such a great push," and then I don't know what happened. The I don't know what happened was what you learned in the last game, Shoaib and Sharky, was that when Salman was teaching you how to rally, that's what happened. Like you rallied, but that in order to rally, the one thing I need you to be careful of, please do not fully queue. Like, don't fully queue these buildings. Just don't. Because if you needed to make a change, at least you're able to make that change to do the rallying. But if you fully queued them with the units that are getting slaughtered in the front, then you'll just get slaughtered again. Like it's like, gee, there's nothing for you to do. You would manually go in, and I know maybe in the past you have. Shrib, how many times have you just manually gone in and just killed the queue?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like quite a few times.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, was there a way to kill the queue from the top right corner? I mean, sorry, top left corner. Like you can see the queue that as it's producing on the top right.
I
Right.
don't think
On top
so.
left, sorry.
No.
I don't think so. That's
You
just
still have to
showing
do-
you what is queued.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
way to kill it on that.
No. You still have to manually go in and yeah, you have to still do that. So that's why you have to be super careful about the type of units you're queuing in or whatnot. And even if you do an initial queue, you the only time you'll actually run that queue sometimes is if you just have like like a rolling advantage and the other guy can't really do anything. Otherwise, I would not just do that. It just saves you so much time and effort when you have to go back and switch the units up. Like everybody can switch units up, so that when you see the counter army coming, by the time they come here, you have the counter. You have the counter ready, and then you just obliterate what they have, and then just make that push again. So those are like again, a lot of things are going to change. It's not going to be easy, whatever. But if there were, so what I want to know is this: what are the top 3 things that you guys think tonight you can improve upon for like next week? What are the top 3 things, Shoaib, that you think your team can like immediately, like next week, can improve?
Shit, man, it's late, 3:30
The
a.m.
shit! I thought you're the leader.
I mean, we ran out of gas, man. Can improve, I guess. One
I'm
thing.
I'm I'm looking at it.
Well, I mean, I know that part. Yeah. So basically, build better, obviously. I think we also need to make sure that if we are gonna start building different units or something, make sure you at least communicate that with the team, right? Not just
Okay.
popping out different units, so we can at least
Okay.
say yes or no. And then I would say the other part is that we have to do a better job in rallying our units, right? And
If you needed to defend on the defense side, right?
actually agree upon which we start hard to do, but now we didn't do it as much. Like, hey, let's rally here, click, rally here, right? Um, and then finally, I would say the last thing would be that uh, the reallocation of the the houses and potentially some of the farms and stuff to kind of free up space on a map like this, which is
Right.
important.
So one thing I would say is the one other thing I would say that you guys can do is whoever is working with the units. So if Munsif is working with a siege, he needs somebody that he's working with. So I don't know, like Munsif just needs to work. Like if Munsif is siege, he has to work closely with the infantry guy. Does that make sense? And then the cavalry guy, has to work with, and the cavalry guy then has to work with, maybe whoever's going to be like the front line or pushing.
In hindsight, maybe the positioning could, and it's not like it was the biggest thing, but the positioning or the pairing could have been a bit different because the way I kind of did the game was that initially, like the first phase,
Uh-huh.
I was kind of paired up with Munsif because I was
Oh.
like instead of pairing like to kind of like take care of our area and get to the resources, right?
Man, you need it. If you actually, this is how I would have done it. You would have paired Munsif with Fassel,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and then you would be paired with Sharky because you guys are the most mobile.
Correct. So that would have been another, I guess.
Man, that would have been huge, actually. Like that would have been huge.
Mhm.
Because Faisal literally would just protect Munsif, and you and Sharky together come with these big pulses, like big hits. And then Korean doesn't have the full ones. But I think I know
Yeah.
Korean doesn't have the full Rams, but
No,
Faisal did have the full Rams.
all three of us had the full Rams, other than Korean. Spanish has them, Slavs has them, and
Did,
Mayans.
did Koreans have the full Rams?
Oh, I'm
No,
saying
No.
the
no.
rest,
Everyone except
everyone
Korean.
else had them.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, so yes, all I'm saying is that because the infantry guy was working with Munsif, he could have made the Rams if he need. And then it would be the Rams, the Pikes. Ironically, it's the same shit you guys mentioned. The
Yeah.
Rams, the Pikes, Munsif with his siege, and then you and Sharky would have been like all with your cavalry and Eagle Warriors.
Mhm.
Honestly, that's it. GG. You win. So I think that's what made it. Okay, so that was also challenging. Munsif, there you go. That was also challenging. Because you ended up being with the Eagle Warrior guy, and then Fasil's with like the cavalry guy. It just kind of made it a little awkward.
I mean, that was supposed to be just for the first phase, but the way the game played out, of course, I guess, naturally, kind of since we're next to each other, like, ended up kind of being more like that even after during mid game. But that was supposed to be just for the initial phase, and then, we were gonna, like, obviously go into battle
Right.
together.
I'm assuming because Fasil was here, I'm assuming the barracks were here, here, this
Yes.
side, right?
Yeah.
And the siege guy is here. Holy shit! So Fasil had to literally go from here to here. Actually, he wasn't even going here because I think well, yeah, because Munsif was mostly, yes, this is the mid. Munsif was mostly here. Mostly here. So Fasil had to literally Shoaib walk from here. This is where his barracks were. He had to walk all the way to here. And by that time it was too late. That's what was going on. So Munsif, your shit was dying because even though he kind of got there at some point, it's like I mean, for the next. So imagine this, Munsif. You can build your onagers here, but Fasil's coming from here. So you rally here, elephants killing your butt here, and then they're just trickling in because there's no way for him to get to you. And then there's this. So he can't even. There's nothing. Who's this? Oh, this is
Oh, but
Munsif.
but Faisal had a lot of
No.
buildings in the
Yeah.
mid.
No, he did. But what I'm
Now
saying
they're
is they were
destroyed.
here. Yeah, they were. You see these spots? Tells me that there were buildings here. But Shoaib, I know Salman was taking them out. See, Salman had this shit.
Yeah, the traps.
So the problem is that Salman was taking out Faisal's barracks.
I just like the waterfall in the middle, man. That's a nice touch.
Did you like that?
You got the waterfall and that trip on fire. It's cooling it down, man.
We will have more space if it wasn't there, but
What the Munsif is all about the damn space, man.
Waterfall in the sign of paradise when you get martyred, man, and you die.
Yeah.
You know about the Battle of Uhud where the archers needed to be by the mountain. They didn't because they wanted the you know what. You guys were too much after the booty. And by the way, that's exactly what happened. Just a sideshow. The prophet and everybody was here, and to protect their flank, Khalid bin Walid had his little forces here, and he knew that, but they were protected from this side with their infantry. So all he did was have his archers come in and whittle them down, so they couldn't do shit. So basically, they couldn't really make a move, and they couldn't go directly in because they were going to get them slaughtered. Why? Because the Muslims also had camels, and that was a problem because when the infantry charged in, they smelled the camels, they would go crazy. So they couldn't do a cavalry charge with camels. That was the big problem. So he couldn't move his shit, and Khalid bin Walid was known to be a guy who was cavalry guy, and that's all he did. He was Mr. Mobile and Mr. Cav. So basically, he was neutered, and they were losing the battle. And then these suckers decided to leave, and that's when he went and hit from the back because the camels were up front. Basically, that's what happened. But anyway, I don't know why I went into that detail, but it just was interesting because Munsif brought it up, and he reminded me of the booty. But yes, the waterfall. Hey, look, but the waterfall's pretty nice though. Like the graphics are pretty cool. No one took the no one took the relics, man. What's up?
Shit.
No, because no one cares about them now.
The freaking Spanish team bonus, man.
Oh, that's right. Y'all were.
Why the hell do you think we picked Spanish?
I thought because you felt bad for like you really thought that you spent some time on it. You wanted Sharky to have the best.
Oh yeah, I mean that was primary.
No, that wasn't the case. So you were just saying Fassel. You know what? It's straight up.
Sharky, man, Sharky.
Oh, Sharky, straight up. He needs to go Spanish. End of story. Not because he's going to build cavalry, but because we need the gold bonus. God damn it, man. Sharky, they did a number on you, man. Yo, y'all got like all these shitty villagers eating up population. Yeah, anyway, I thought that was pretty good. Who the hell's shit was this?
That's in the map.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did I left some did I?
Yes.
I thought I did?
Yes.
Oh,
Why
that's
else would there
right.
be a feudal age stable in there?
Oh, because I have rocks here. I have rocks here, but I don't know what I did there. Where's the line, by the way, guys? Where's the
Right there.
where's the
Right where the
Oh,
barracks
there it
and
is.
archery
Here's
is.
here's the dead guys. Here's the Chinese thing. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Dead cart. Okay, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Here's the line. The line's right here. The line's right here. Okay. No, I thought everyone did pretty good, man.
All right,
So,
brothers.
yep.
Yep.
Assalamu alaikum.
GG.
Awesome.
All right.
Walaikum salam. Take care, guys.
Right,
Good night.
everyone.
How do I